Alabama didn't just lose the SEC championship. They got absolutely steamrolled. The Dogs walked into Atlanta and delivered a beating. It wasn't about luck. It wasn't about calls. It wasn't even about scheme. It was about total domination from the Georgia defense. Special teams came into play big time. There were blocked punts. The defense brought relentless pressure. Zachariah Branch was just doing alien things. And Georgia's defense turned Alabama's offense into just a highlight reel of 3 and outs. It was fantastic. This was 28-7, but if you're a Dog fan, you felt like it was 7-3 the whole game, and at any moment it could change. Outside looking in, you probably felt like it was 56-0. But at the end of the day, Georgia sends a message to the entire country. If you want to win a national championship, you're going to have to go through the Dogs, and good luck with that. This is the Nitro College Football Show, Dogs Uncensored postgame. Your SEC championship edition of this show. Like and subscribe. We're talking Dogs and your 2025 SEC champions. That's 2 years in a row. And as the great Jim Carrey once said, Georgia has exorcised the demons. A lot of thoughts going into this game. Bama being Georgia's boogeyman. We all know it. It's been that way for years. Georgia's been dominating college football, except for Alabama. Crazy anomaly. We thought once Nick Saban left, okay, it's going to be all rainbows and Cheerios and cookies, right? But then Kalen DeBoer comes in and doesn't really miss a beat when it came to Georgia. Now, this team that rolled into the SEC championship, completely different team than the one that played Alabama earlier in the year. And yes, you can say the same thing about Alabama. The defense completely changed. Completely changed. The defense grew up. This is one of the best defensive performances I've seen from this Georgia team. It was dominating. It was hard hitting. I mean, they were laying the wood to each other. I mean, it was a slugfest. It was hard hitting on both sides. There wasn't a lot of offense in this game. It really wasn't. Yeah, Gunner had 3 touchdowns and was offensive MVP, but Dogs had around 300 yards of offense, and Bama was only at 209. So not a lot of offense, but like I said, Gunner Stockton, he's your SEC championship MVP. He was 20 of 26 for 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 39 yards rushing. That's not too bad, considering Bama's defense is pretty damn good. And like I said, this was a slugfest. Georgia only gave up 7 points and 209 total yards. Amazing performance, just domination from the get. There was only one drive, the touchdown drive, where Georgia hurt itself with some stupid penalties, and they forgot how to tackle on the touchdown pass. But is what it is. Would have been a shutout. Would have been awesome. Georgia did shut out Bama in the first half, which is the first time that Alabama has been shut out in a half since 2021. That is most impressive. Most impressive. Georgia's defense won the game, and Georgia's offense was good enough. No one was lighting it up. Georgia wasn't throwing bombs down the field. Hell, Gunner looked scared to throw it deep. It just wasn't happening. I love Gunner to death. I want him to win the Heisman. I'm not a Gunner hater. That kid is awesome. He is the quintessential damn good dog. I mean, it doesn't get more wholesome and country boy than Gunner Stockton from Tiger, Georgia. And he's all shucks, Jonathan Moxon radio interview every time. And he is really great at what he does, which is manage the offense. He doesn't make big mistakes. He is very cautious with the ball to a fault. But he's able to get people in the right positions. And how about that offensive line holding up pretty damn well with the loss of Drew Bobo? Shout out to Malachi Tolliver. That kid played his tail off. It looked like it was going to be rough at the very beginning of the game. He, missed a block and had a run stop, but then after that, he did great. He did a great job, and he probably had the most difficult job out of anybody on the offensive line going against Bama's nose tackle. Just all around epic effort. And I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about special teams, everybody's favorite. Special teams. What does Kirby always preach? What did Kirby say in that leaked halftime speech? We're going to hit them on defense, hit them on special teams, tackle the man with the ball. He didn't say it like that, though. There were a lot of expletives in there. They're trying to keep it as G-rated as possible. But Kirby is all about defense and special teams. And special teams shined all around. Great effort. We had Cole Spear getting a blocked punt, which was awesome because he was there. Branson Robinson was going to block it if he didn't. And Georgia gets it inside the 20. And it was a great execution inside the red zone, and was so happy for Branson Robinson lining up at fullback. I mean, Georgia busted out like all the old school crap today. It was awesome. We had people lining up at fullback. We threw to the tight ends a few times. Defense was nasty. But yeah, so happy for Branson Robinson lining up at fullback, getting out into the flats, getting a touchdown. Awesome. So happy for that kid. He's been, he's dealt with a lot of injuries, and so that's really great to see. So overall, yeah, right, yeah, Roderick, not Branson. My bad. I've been having this was a stressful game, so I had to have some libations to calm the nerves there a little bit. So what was really good for Georgia? The defense played their best game of the season, held Bama to -3 rushing yards. -3 rushing yards. One of our friends on our group text said, "What, Notre Dame and Miami had more rushing yards than Bama today?" That was outstanding. The big problem in the first game against Alabama, Georgia's defense couldn't get off the field on third down. They gave up every third down. It was like automatic. Well, that is no longer the case, ladies and gentlemen. This was a masterclass. Georgia dominated, forced 3 and outs all game long. It felt really good to watch that defense. And one of the big keys was Georgia was consistently getting pressure on Ty Simpson. most of the half or most of the game, they weren't getting sacks, but they were getting in his face, disrupting the pass. As the game went on, they kept being relentless, and eventually they started getting home and getting some big hits on Ty Simpson. And I got to say this about Ty Simpson. That kid's impressive. If you're a Georgia fan, you got to give some respect to Ty Simpson. Those last few drives, he was getting his shit kicked in. Defense was nailing him. I mean, he was taking some shots, but he was standing in there and making really great throws. It just so happened that our secondary played great. We got lucky a few times, especially near the end. The ball actually bounced off the Bama receiver's chest, but it was tipped just enough by our safety. But that was a play where Ty Simpson was dead to rights. He got flushed out of the pocket, ran backwards. I thought it was like, hey, this is going to be a big time loss of yards here. And somehow he escaped and got the ball off and still hit the guy in the chest. So, I mean, there were lots of throws like that. So respect to Ty Simpson. That kid's going to have a hell of a career in the NFL. But wasn't good enough for the day. Wasn't good enough to win the SEC championship today. That's your Georgia Bulldogs. Defense still physically relentless. There were so many big hits in this game. It just seemed like every other drive, there was a hit and you just hear the crowd go, ooh. It was awesome. It was awesome. Ellis Robinson had a huge hit to start the game and had a great game in the secondary with some great pass defenses, just great coverage, making it hard for the receivers, the Bama receivers, to do anything. One thing they could have done better is once Ryan Williams or Bernard caught the ball, for whatever reason, we couldn't tackle those guys very well. Good thing Georgia swarmed and was able to eventually get to them, but those guys, they were, as soon as they touched the ball, they were getting in space and getting chunks. So thankfully there wasn't a lot of that. Overall, Georgia's tackling was awesome. Very, very few missed tackles. And honestly, I think that's probably that between that, I'll say three things with the Georgia defense that's changed since the first time Georgia played Alabama. The tackling has been awesome. Cut down on missed tackles big time. The pass rush has gotten so much better. They're finally getting into the face of the quarterback, disrupting the flow, disrupting the passes. And on the back end with the secondary, those young corners they're finally growing up and they're making plays. And it's a beautiful thing to see. Now, there were some dumbass plays throughout the game. There were some dumb penalties. And thankfully, they didn't hurt Georgia too much. I think there were some where we kind of got away with some. There was a call on both teams that negated things. So got to clean those up. But that's what Kirby does. As soon as those guys came to the sideline, he was chewing their ass. It was pretty funny. And then one of the craziest things of the whole game, Bama goes for it, 4th and 2 on their 12. The game was still within reach. They didn't have to punt it right here. It was a gutsy call. 4th and 2, but they didn't get it. Georgia gets the ball right there and pretty much scores a game ending touchdown. But that was wild. I couldn't believe DeBoer did that. I think he was feeling a little cocky after the Auburn game with that fourth down and how well that worked. But not today, Junior. Lots of game-changing plays today. Like I said, Cole Spear had the block punt. That was huge. That is really what changed the complexion of the game completely. I mean, the defense was rolling, but that was just such a huge momentum shift. And then Dalen Everett, we got to start calling him Big Game Dalen Everett because this guy shows up in the biggest games. He gets the interception. It was tipped by KJ Bolden, and that led to next play, touchdown pass, a dart from Gunner to Bell. It was a beautiful throw. He definitely had his fastball on him right there. Great touchdown. But both of those first half touchdowns were created off defense and special teams, getting them in great field position. And that's exactly what championship teams do. It was an amazing performance, all three phases. Zachariah Branch, this kid, he is Georgia's MVP. As well as Gunner's played all year, as well as the defense played today on this whole season, Zachariah Branch is a cheat code. We saw it today several times. Just get the ball to him and see what happens. And his 13-yard touchdown pass, which was a screen that looked like it was about to just get blown up, I don't even know what he did. I mean, it was like I blacked out. He was going one direction. Next thing I know, he's going somewhere else, and he's in the end zone, and I'm freaking out. It was amazing. Amazing. That kid is such a game changer. Great game by him. I honestly thought he should have been the MVP. Just that play alone was just amazing. But Gunner did play very well, or he played well enough. I won't say he played very well. He was really hesitant to throw the ball downfield. He just was. But he was able to throw 3 touchdown passes, so great in the red zone. Had some good runs, 4th and 1 sneak. Like I said, those touchdown passes that he did throw, they were, the one to Bell in particular was just a bullet, great throw. And as usual, I mean, Gunner is just super resilient. And it seemed like he started to start picking it up and kind of getting his mojo back as the game went on. We started seeing him throw it downfield a little bit, and then ultimately the play calling just took that out of his hands, which it should. I mean, when you're up 28-7, I mean, you're not going to be throwing the ball all around unless you're Indiana and you're trying to, prove something. Georgia doesn't have to do that. So I'm a little skeptical of how the offense is going to be throughout the playoffs, but with that defense, they're going to be in every game, and let's give it up to the offensive line. Banged up, beat to hell, without their best offensive lineman, and they come in and play a great game against a really solid defense. Georgia controlled the line of scrimmage. They just did. Both sides of the ball. And last but not least, things that went well. Georgia finally finished a game versus Alabama. We came into this game 0-4 versus Bama in SEC title games. And we were 0-3 when leading at halftime under Kirby Smart. But this time, no collapse, no cracks, full domination, start to finish. Beautiful. Mwah. Chef's kiss. It just feels good. It feels good. Exercise the demons. Get that monkey off her back. It feels good that Georgia is again your SEC champions rolling into the playoffs. Georgia now gets a bye. Hopefully some players can get healthy. We were without Aguero today. Don't think I saw Zachariah or the other branch. Name escapes me at the moment, but Zachariah Branch's brother. He didn't play today. At least I don't think he did, but we'll look at some of the stats here in a second. But you got to feel good about this team going into the playoffs with this defense. Just don't have too many expectations of the offense that they're just going to light it up. If they do, it'll be a surprise. But for the most part, they're just going to do just enough to win the game. And that's all they're asked to do. And that's all they need to do. Because when the defense is rolling and your special teams is elite, you just got to play good enough to not screw up terribly. So, yeah. So, really happy about that. Bottom line, the good was way better than anything bad that happened in this game. Georgia dominated the trenches, owned field position. I mean, for the most part, Bama didn't even get into Georgia territory most of the game. It was only a few drives. It was great. Just a complete game for the most part. A complete game for the defense, complete game for special teams, and complete enough game for the offense. So let's look at some of the numbers here and see how well the teams actually did, and see if our perception of reality is different than what the numbers show. So, like I said, on offense, Georgia had 297 yards to Bama's 209. Both teams not terribly efficient on third down. Georgia was only 6 of 16, but Bama was only 3 of 14. That's a huge difference from the first game. Georgia was, though, 2 for 2 on fourth down, where Bama was 1 for 3. That's a game-changing number right there. Rushing, Georgia had 141 yards. It was good enough. It wasn't outstanding, not going to jump off the page. But the thing that does jump off the page, Bama was -3 yards rushing. Incredible. Passing wise, Gunner only threw for 156 yards. But I mean, he was 20 of 26, so he's only throwing the check downs and the screens. Very rare did we see him just let it loose and fling it downfield. So I hope he gets his mojo back on that front, because if Georgia's going to win a national championship, going against teams like Notre Dame, Indiana, Ohio State, even Oregon, you have to score. But your defense will give you a chance. And of course, Georgia wins the turnover battle. And time of possession, Georgia dominated time of possession. Almost 37 minutes to 23 minutes. That's incredible. Let's see. Individually, Georgia's leading rusher, Nate Frazier, 13 of 52, or for 52 yards, 4 yards a carry. Great touchdown run there. Gunner was second leading rusher with 39 yards. Didn't see much of anybody else. We saw McCray get a few carries. Chauncey Bowens actually had a game-winning play that I think he got hurt on again. So we might not have Bowens for a while. So hopefully this bye week helps him get healthy. But that 15-yard run on a 3rd and 12, that allowed Georgia to roll to the victory formation. So it is what it is. I hated to see him get hurt, but he made a great run there. Zachariah Branch, our leading receiver, 5 catches, 53 yards and a touchdown. Dylan Bell, 4 catches, 45 yards and a touchdown. And then on defense, leading tackler was Ja'Cory Thomas. And then what's that? A 1-2 3-way tie for second. CJ Allen, Chris Cole, Raylan Wilson, all with 5 total tackles. Ja'Cory Thomas with sack. And let's see, did we see the other Branch brother play? I don't believe so. No, we didn't. But man, guys like Zayden Walker, Gabe Harris, Ellis Robinson, stepping up huge. Stepping up absolutely huge. Dalen Everett with that interception. Zachariah in the punt return in the punt game, he was able to return 1 for 24 yards and get Georgia into really good plus position. And then of course Brett Thorson averaging 45 yards a punt, 5 of them inside of the 20. 5 punts inside the 20. So what does this mean moving forward? Georgia gets to rest up for a week and then prepare for whoever wins the first round matchup. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not even going to speculate on that just yet. But they need the bye week, probably more than any other team in the playoff. We saw Bowens get hurt. We didn't see, Branch brother playing safety. Lots of other guys, a few other Aguero's out, a few other guys banged up, injured. So it'll be good to get a week of healing for those guys because we're going to need them to get through the rest of these playoffs. But regardless, Georgia's going to be in every game that they play. It's like they said on the broadcast, Georgia's the most resilient team in the nation. No one can deny that. For Bama, I don't know if they're going to get left out of the playoff. It's hard to unsee what you see in a championship game, but at the same time, it's an extra game that teams that don't make the championship, they don't get to play in. Like Vandy was begging people to play this weekend just to get another game on tape. So say what you will about conference championship games, whether they're good, bad, need to go away. It was fun. It was fun to watch. And there's still a lot of pride there. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year, but it'll be interesting to see what the committee actually ends up doing with Bama. Because I honestly, well, it's weird because in this case, people are saying that, oh, you shouldn't look at this game for Bama because it's an extra game that other people didn't get to play in. And then you have BYU on the other side, kind of in the same boat, except they only lost to one team. Granted, they got their ass kicked, but there's so many different factors. Bama played a hell of a lot tougher schedule than BYU. But I don't know. I don't know where they end up right now. If I had to put money on it, I think Bama gets left out of the playoff, and we see Notre Dame and maybe Miami sneak in. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with the ACC championship later on. But overall, Great game. So happy to be a Bulldog. My game day attire is still unblemished since the Bama game prior in the season. So I don't have to buy a new wardrobe, so that's great. At least not yet. And then, our next time if we lose, that's the end of the season. So it is what it is. But this has been a lot of fun. So proud of these dogs. Finally getting over the hump, beating Bama. Great stuff. Great to be a Georgia Bulldog. My name's Burl. This is Nitro College Football Show, Dogs Uncensored postgame. We'll see you tomorrow for our weekly recap, and we'll be recapping the championship games and the fallout from that, and we'll pick apart what the committee may or may not do, and then get ready for the first round of the playoffs next weekend. It's going to be fun. But until next time, I'm Burl. Go Dogs.